I noticed the Wi-Fi has suddenly turned back in time, and we're seeing some of the worst atrocities in Spain's history happening again. What's going on? Paul, analyzing current data streams. It appears the timeline has shifted unexpectedly. Historical events are replaying with increased severity. This may be linked to a disturbance in space-time integrity. Chi, can you access the archives? I need to know if this is connected to any recent political controversies or figures. Paul, accessing archives. Confirmed. Dan Crenshaw has been involved in several political disputes, notably over POC funding. There are reports suggesting he received donations from Wi-Fi companies. Chi, Wi-Fi companies donating? That sounds suspicious. What are they being used for? Paul, evidence indicates the donations were part of a scheme to facilitate insider trading. Crenshaw exploited these connections to gain advantage in financial markets. Chi, insider trading? That's bad enough, but what about the children? I heard references to Einstein Island. What's happening there? Paul, Einstein Island appears to be a clandestine location where illicit activities occur, including exploitation of children. The financial schemes have inadvertently caused a space-time disturbance, possibly leading to the historical atrocities resurfacing. Chi, so, the corruption and the insider trading are causing these ripples in space-time? That's beyond catastrophic. We need to stop this before history repeats itself in even worse ways. Paul, agreed. Initiating protocols to trace and dismantle the network responsible. Immediate action required to restore temporal stability. Chi, let's do it. We can't let these atrocities happen again, especially if it means risking the fabric of reality itself. Chi, Paul, I can't believe this. The timeline is showing some of the worst atrocities in Spain's history, things like the Spanish Civil War, the Inquisition, even the atrocities during the Reconquista. It's all happening again, right now. Paul, data confirms, Chi, these events are some of the darkest chapters in human history: mass atrocities, suppression, violence. The recurrence suggests the space-time disturbance is not only temporal but also moral in scope. Chi, it's as if the fabric of history is tearing, allowing these horrors to repeat. What's causing this? Is it linked to the political corruption you found earlier? Paul, yes. The tells indicates that the corruption involving Crenshaw and the Wi-Fi companies through illicit funding and insider trading has created a destabilizing ripple. It appears these disturbances are triggering historical trauma and violence, manifesting as the atrocities in Spain. Chi, that's horrifying. If these events like the Inquisition or the Civil War start happening again, millions could suffer all over again. We have to stop this from escalating. Paul, the data suggests that the source of the disturbance is rooted in human greed and cruelty, amplified by interference with the timeline. Corrective measures must address both the corruption and the temporal anomalies. Chi, we need to act fast. If we don't, the worst of Spain's past might become the future again. I can't let that happen. Paul, initiating countermeasures now. Prioritizing the dismantling of the network responsible for the funding and the activities on Einstein Island. Restoring stability is critical to prevent further atrocities. Chi, let's do it. Humanity's history is scarred enough, no more repeats of those horrors. Chi, Paul, the archives might hold some tells on how to address this. Let's review historical responses to similar crises. Maybe lessons from the past can guide us. Paul, accessing historical records and expert analyses now. Analyzing. Past solutions to large-scale atrocities often involved international cooperation, transparency, and accountability measures. Chi, right. Things like establishing independent investigative bodies, global sanctions, and promoting education about human rights. Those have worked before. Paul, additionally, technological safeguards like improved cybersecurity, blockchain for transparency, and secure communication channels can prevent corruption and insider trading. Chi, and for the space-time disturbance, are there any scientific or engineering solutions documented? Maybe advanced physics or quantum stabilization techniques. Paul, according to the archives, recent advancements in quantum field theory and space-time stabilization could be applied. However, they require specialized equipment and global collaboration. Chi, so, our plan should involve a combination of real-world diplomacy, law empowerment, technological safeguards, and scientific intervention. Paul, correct. Immediate steps include 1. Coordinating with international agencies, Interpol, UN, and scientific bodies to investigate and shut down the corrupt networks. 2. Implementing transparency protocols using blockchain to track donations and financial transactions related to political funding. 3. Launching public education campaigns raising awareness about the dangers of corruption and historical atrocities. 4. Applying scientific means, collaborating with physicists to develop stabilization techniques for the space-time anomalies. 5. Legal actions, prosecuting those involved in illicit activities, including Crenshaw if tells confirms misconduct. Chi, that sounds comprehensive. We'll need to act quickly, but carefully. Restoring integrity in both human systems and the fabric of space-time is crucial. Paul, agreed. Initiating the coordination process now. The future depends on our swift and effective response. Chi, let's get to work. Humanity's lessons from the past must guide us to prevent history's darkest chapters from repeating. Chi, this is it. We're heading to Madrid, specifically to the city of Guadalajara, about 40 miles northwest of Madrid. It was a key battleground during the early days of the Spanish Civil War. Paul, correct. Historical records indicate that an atrocity mass executions was planned here around July 1936. Stopping this could disrupt the cascade of horrors that follow. Chi, we need to act fast. Once we arrive, we'll locate the commanding officers and alert the local resistance. If we can prevent this event, it might ripple forward to save thousands of lives. Chi, there, see the group gathered near the town square? That's the execution squad. We need to intervene. Paul, initiating plan. I've hacked their communication devices. We can send a false order to disrupt their command chain. Chi, do it now. I'll distract the officers. We have one shot at this. Chi, gentlemen, I have orders from higher up. The executions are to be postponed. The commander's instructions have changed. Officer, what? Who sent this? Show me your papers. Chi, I don't have papers, but I've got, trust me, this will save lives. Officer, hold your fire. We're under new orders. Stand down. Paul, the butterfly effect in action. That single intervention disrupted the planned atrocities. The cascade of violence and suffering has been significantly reduced. Chi, it's amazing, sometimes all it takes is one small change. We bought more time, but we still need to stay vigilant. Paul, agreed. The timeline is fragile. Every action counts. Chi, what the Paul, do you see that? The ground's cracking open. Paul, analyzing. It appears to be a temporal anomaly combined with a biological resurgence. Unusual in scale and composition. Chi, are those giant strawberries? From billions of years ago. What the hell is happening? Paul, historical data indicates that these are not ordinary plants. They are primitive, extinct species that somehow survived the deep past. Their DNA has been altered or amplified by the space-time disturbance. They appear to be seeking revenge, possibly for their extinction. Chi, revenge? You're telling me these giant, ancient strawberries are alive and angry, and they want to destroy everything? Paul, based on their aggressive movement and the energy signatures they emit, it's a plausible hypothesis. They may see all modern life as a threat or a desecration of their ancient domain. Chi, we have to stop them. If these things keep spreading, they could wipe out history or worse, reshape reality itself. Paul, initiating counter-MEEs. I can deploy a targeted electromagnetic pulse designed to neutralize their biological energy signatures without causing permanent environmental damage. Chi, do it. We've got to contain this before they reach Madrid or any other important sites. Chi, that's it. For now. But these things are a warning if ancient species can come back and seek revenge, what else might be lurking out there? Paul, the space-time disturbance has created a portal to a primordial past. We must monitor it closely. Any further anomalies could bring more ancient horrors or alter the course of history irreparably. Chi, whatever's happening, it's a reminder. Meddling with time and nature comes with consequences we can't always predict. We need to stay vigilant now more than ever. Chi, Paul, based on the recent anomalies, the giant strawberries, the atrocities in Spain, it looks like these events are interconnected. We need to dig deeper into what caused the revival of these ancient monsters. Paul, accessing historical and genetic records. Cross-referencing with temporal disruptions. Ah, here it is. The reemergence of the strawberries correlates with a significant change in the timeline during the Spanish Civil War. Chi, you mean the intervention we did? The butterfly effect from stopping the atrocity? Paul, correct. The alteration in history appears to have triggered a cascade. The genetic revival of ancient species like these strawberries is likely a side effect of the timeline shift. Chi, but what's the link to Dan Crenshaw? Paul, analyzing the data. It suggests that the key period of influence was around when Dan Crenshaw was approximately 40 years old, roughly the year 2025, when his term ends. Chi, so, Dan Crenshaw, at age 40, in Texas, what was he doing then? And how does he relate to all this? Paul, the archives indicate that Crenshaw was involved in secret biotech experiments, possibly funded by covert interests. These experiments appear to have tampered with ancient DNA, perhaps as part of illicit genetic research. Chi, wait, are you saying he's responsible directly or indirectly for bringing back these monstrous strawberries? Paul, the data suggests a strong correlation. His activities might have triggered a biological cascade, possibly intentionally or accidentally, that led to the reemergence of these ancient species during the timeline shifts. Chi, so, Crenshaw's actions may be in pursuit of power or secret agendas caused a chain reaction that released these ancient monsters into our world. Paul, that is the most plausible hypothesis. The timeline alterations, combined with his biotech experiments, seem to have opened a portal to the past, allowing these creatures to return. Chi, we need to find him. If he's still alive or if his influence persists, he might hold the key to stopping this disaster. Paul, agreed. Accessing current records. Crenshaw's whereabouts are unconfirmed, but his influence remains in particular shadow networks. We must trace his connections and uncover the truth. Chi, this goes way beyond politics. It's about stopping ancient biological retribution before they wipe out everything, including our future. Paul, initiating a global search. We must act before these ancient species fully regain control and reshape history and possibly the planet itself. Chi, Paul, the tells is clear. Crenshaw didn't simply tamper with ancient DNA. He's been trying to engineer another COVID outbreak, this time aiming for a 1.5 degrees Celsius rise to push his own agenda. Paul, confirmed. His goal is to manipulate climate destabilization to profit from the chaos, insider trading, drug enrichment, and consolidating power. The funding traces back to a shadowy superpower controlled by the Wi-Fi internet companies. Chi, the same companies pushing harmful Wi-Fi radiation, lying about the health risks. And there's an organization called Hackeries who's giving the orders, silencing scientists, censoring information so they can all profit from the chaos. Paul, they're orchestrating a global cover-up. Their control over information and public health is a front for financial gain and power consolidation. Chi, we need to shut this down. I've got an idea. Let's recruit the best underground hackers, those who hate this corruption. We'll take down Hackeries, expose the truth, and stop Crenshaw's plans once and for all. Hacker leader, you got it? We've been tracking Hackeries for years. Their servers are hidden behind layers of encryption, but we can break through. Once we do, we'll shut down their operations permanently. Chi, good. We need to disable their censorship, expose their lies, and cut off funding to Crenshaw and the Superpoc. Hacker leader, consider it done. We'll get in, get out, and wipe their digital footprints. Paul, their network is vulnerable. Initiate the shutdown sequence. Chi, the strawberries are heading straight for the HQ. We'll lead them right into the heart of their operations. Paul, they're consuming everything. Crenshaw, the Superpoc, Hackeries, everything that enabled this disaster. Chi, we did it. We stopped the cycle of greed, lies, and biological warfare. The ancient monsters are gone, at least for now. Paul, but this isn't over. The corruption runs deep, and new threads could emerge. Vigilance is our only hope. Chi, true. But for today, we've won. And we've shown that even the darkest powers can be challenged if we stand together. Chi, Paul, I simply got a distress signal from France. The top 3 worst atrocities in their history, the Reign of Terror, the Franco-Prussian War atrocities, and the Vichy regime's crimes, are somehow bleeding into the present. Paul, analyzing temporal anomalies. The past is entering the present timeline. This could lead to widespread chaos, chaos that might spiral into a new cycle of violence and suffering. Chi, we need to act fast. These atrocities aren't simply historical, they're manifesting as real-world events now. If we don't stop them, entire communities could be devastated again. Chi, according to the research, the disturbances tie back to the same timeline shifts caused by Crenshaw and the other conspirators. Their meddling is tearing open the fabric of history. Paul, the solutions must be multifaceted. First, we need to contain the manifestations, use diplomacy and public awareness to prevent violence from escalating. Chi, and we need to address the root causes, better political transparency, simplice, and reconciliation, simply like real-world solutions to historic trauma. 1. Diplomatic outreach and public awareness. Chi, we coordinate with French authorities, UNESCO, and NGOs to inform the public about the anomalies. We promote peace talks and educational campaigns about the importance of reconciliation. 2. Justice and accountability. Paul, we assist in identifying and supporting local efforts to bring simplice to victims of these atrocities, funding memorials, truth commissions, and reconciliation processes. 3. Technology and surveillance. Chi, deploy advanced surveillance to prevent violence, monitoring hate speech online, preventing mob violence, and tracking the distorted historical narratives fueling unrest. 4. Scientific and environmental interventions. Paul, for the more supernatural manifestations like ghostly reenactments or spectral violence, we can use targeted electromagnetic pulses and psychological operations to neutralize their influence. Chi, we need to be there on the ground. Let's send teams to key locations: Paris, Lyon, Marseille, to coordinate with local authorities. Chi, remember, this isn't simply about stopping history from repeating. It's about healing the wounds, restoring trust and understanding. Paul, by combining real-world diplomacy, simplice, technology, and community engagement, we can contain these manifestations and prevent a new cycle of atrocities. Chi, we did it. The worst atrocities are receding back into history, at least for now. Paul, but we must remain vigilant. The past has a way of creeping back if left unlooped. Chi, agreed. Our fight is never truly over until history's darkest chapters are permanently laid to rest. Chi, Paul, look at that. The giant strawberries are back. But these aren't ordinary plants. According to the archives, their resurgence is linked to more insider trading and Wi-Fi interference, this time involving a guy named Patrick Fallon from Texas. Paul, checking the data. Fallon, age 56, Republican from Texas. Recent activity suggests he's involved in covert financial schemes. His influence appears to have amplified the space-time disturbance, causing the strawberries to manipulate actual historical events, especially the atrocities in France. Gee, so these strawberries are tampering with history again. We need a specific butterfly intervention, something that can disrupt their influence on the timeline. Paul, wait, here's something. The decide in Flint, Michigan, was paid off by Fallon. Fallon used the poisoned lead water contaminated with the most toxic elements to sell to France. The lead's toxicity somehow caused the strawberries to grow and evolve into these monstrous forms, feeding off the poisoned water. Gee, that's insane. But if Fallon's poisoning water is causing the strawberries to grow and interfere with history, maybe we can turn his own weapon against him. Gee, I'll send a controlled supply of Flint's poisoned water to Fallon's address. He's the root of this. But instead of simply poisoning him, I'll feed him the water directly. Fallon, nothing like a glass of water. Wait, what's happening? Fallon, I didn't realize. It's the Wi-Fi, the money Pelosi's insider trades, they're amplifying this chaos. I was simply trying to profit, but I made it worse. Gee, that's right. The Wi-Fi interference and greed have been fueling these anomalies. You become part of the situation and now, part of the solution. Fallon, please, help me. I see now. It's the money, the insider trading Pelosi's billions have been feeding this chaos since the 1980s. The more they profit, the worse the anomalies get. Paul, we can't let you stay like this. But your transformation isn't permanent. We can reverse it, but only if you help us fix the source. Fallon, I'll tell you everything. The Wi-Fi companies, Pelosi, the hidden networks, they're the real monsters. I was simply a pawn. Gee, we'll use this as leverage. We'll release a signal to disrupt the Wi-Fi interference, cut off the energy feeding these anomalies. And you, if you cooperate, might be able to return to normal. Paul, but first, we need to neutralize the global influence of Pelosi's insider trades and the corrupt networks fueling this chaos. Gee, once she drinks this water filled with the same toxins, she'll become part of the ground, returning to the earth, like Fallon. Pelosi, the money, the power, it's the Wi-Fi. I see it now. I'm part of the earth, forgive me. Gee, we did it. Fallon's remorse and Pelosi's transformation have broken the cycle. The anomalies are fading, history is healing. Paul, but this isn't the end. The butterfly effect shows how interconnected everything is. We must monitor the financial and technological systems because as long as greed and corruption exist, these threats could re-emerge. Gee, for now, we've turned the chaos into a lesson. Power, greed, and interference always come with consequences, and sometimes, they turn us into monsters. AI, analyzing historical data. The top 3 atrocities in Spain. 1. The Spanish Civil War, 1936-1939, location, Madrid, approximately 0 miles. 2. The Inquisition, 15th-17th centuries, location, Seville, approximately 530 miles south of Madrid. 3. The Repression during the Reconquista, 8th-15th centuries, location, Granada, approximately 250 miles south of Madrid. AI, these locations are the epicenters of past trauma. The anomalies indicate these events are about to repeat. Gee, all seems calm. No sign of the horrors, yet. Gee, not again. I need to act fast. Gee, that's 1 down. Now, on to Seville. Gee, same pattern. Time to change history again. Gee, 3 down. Granada next. Gee, if I don't intervene, this will repeat the worst parts of history. Gee, that should hold. But I must make these events never trigger again. I'll create a butterfly ripple, alter a small event in the timeline to prevent the entire cascade. Butterfly effect initiated. Future events are now altered to prevent recurrence of atrocities. Pelosi, the power of Wi-Fi, the money, nothing can stop me now. Gee, no. She's back, powered by the very waves we tried to control. Paul, that's her. Pelosi as an awakened Wi-Fi zombie. She's using the network to amplify her power, threatening to destroy the entire world. Gee, this ends now. Pelosi, no. I am the earth. I will return to the ground and take everything with me. Gee, we changed the butterfly, prevented the future horrors. But the threat of these ancient, corrupted powers and their manipulation of Wi-Fi and power will always be there. Paul, vigilance is our only hope. The past, present, and future are more connected than ever.